Hello, this is Zack Smith of Sky Magazine's No Scuba, here to bring you coverage of Carleton Cut versus the Wisconsin Hodags in the Saturday night 7 o'clock showcase game under the lights. Wisconsin with a 4-2 record coming out to play Carleton, who is 5-1. Carleton's only loss of the weekend thus far has been a loss to Central Florida. Wisconsin losing to Florida as well as Pittsburgh. We're coming out in a early preview of what is most likely going to be the North Central Regional Final. Both teams missing some key players, but this will certainly be an exciting game. We are here in beautiful Tampa, Florida for the tournament warm-up at Florida Fair, hosted at University of Central Florida. This is part of the 2012 Sky College Tour presented by Spin Ultimate. Here we are as Carleton's Will Herald begins the poll. Carleton coming out on defense. Tyler Mahoney, Nick Stewart, Logan Weiss, Justin Norton, Simon Montague, and young John Hahn. Wisconsin receiving the disc, moving it upfield to Alex Simmons. Simmons being the center handler of this Wisconsin offense. Tanner Marshall upfield to Camp. Camp moving it back to the center of the field. Bryan Hart with the disc, looking deep. Simmons clearing deep. Jordan O'Neill now with the disc, moving it to Colin Camp. Center of the field at the brick mark. Here's Simmons. Simmons putting the around flick, a backhand to Jordan O'Neill for the 1-0 goal. Wisconsin's O-line holding. And that was a great put to space for Jordan O'Neill from Alex Simmons. Wisconsin on the board early, 1-0. Again, coming to you in beautiful Tampa, Florida. We've had some big upsets thus far. Central Florida taking down the defending national champion Carleton Cut. Also, Wisconsin losing some pretty close games. We've also seen Georgia Tech taking down the Southeast perennial regional winner in Florida. Georgia now currently up on Florida, and I believe Georgia Tech up on the surprisingly powerful Central Florida. Here we go, Wisconsin's defensive line. Hodag cheer coming from the sideline. We have Jerry McGinnis, Zack Alter, Danny Stuhlgras, Dayu Liu, Kelson Alexander, and James Smart. We also have Tom Coolidge, as the 7th player on this line. These teams very familiar with one another. This rivalry almost split up by USA Ultimate with the restructuring as people heavily contested that decision, bringing it back as the North Central was reunited. Smart with the big inside-out pull, going deep. Sam Keller going to receive. Keller centering the disc to Justin Norton. Putting it deep right away. Wisconsin player getting a piece of it, and it's a D as Nick Stewart can't reel it in. It seems as if there is a stoppage. This could be a foul call. Trying to figure out if it's Nick Stewart who called the foul. It is Nick Stewart who calls the foul on Zack Alter. And it looks like it's going to be uncontested. Stewart getting the disc at a stall of 0 at the brick mark. Dumping it quickly. Looking to move it. Finding Montague in the center of the field. Montague hammer attempt to Stewart for the goal. Simon Montague bringing a little bit of creativity to this usually mechanical offensive line for Carleton. One of the major things for this weekend is the fact that as Carleton ties it up at ones, one of the major things for this weekend is that Jonah Herskew, one of the centerpieces of this Carleton O-line, is out for this tournament. He is playing basketball for Carleton College, and that season has not ended yet. 2 quick scores for both offensive lines. An outside in from Alex Simmons to Jordan O'Neal, and then a hammer from Simon Montague to Nick Stewart brings us a 1-1 tie score in this game under the lights in beautiful Tampa, Florida. This tournament, Warm-Up of Florida Affair, part of Sky's 2012 College Tour, presented by Spin Ultimate. We get our second look at the Carleton defensive line, which this is a more stacked defensive line as they may be looking to break early. We have Simon Montague, Will Harold, who's had amazing pulls all weekend, Logan Weiss, Justin Norden, Nick Stewart, Julian Childs-Walker, and John Reynolds. This is Harold with the pull. Big inside-out pull going down the left sideline. Park fielding it, centering to Simmons. Simmons scanning, dumping back to Park. Park now with the disc. Up to Simmons. Bryan Hart earning the under. Hart moving it upfield to Matt Becker. Matt Becker sending it. Colin Camp going deep. Nick Stewart on D. Camp going up. Nick Stewart making the play. Stopping the strike to Camp. And Carleton with their first chance to get a break. And this is a really strong line as a lot of their handling core is out here. Justin Norden going to pick up the disc. It looks like he's going to have Logan Weiss and Will Harold as his other handlers. Montague in the center of the field looking to create some space. Norden breaking to Montague. Montague marked by Becker. Montague known for his crazier throwing styles with a high release break to Norden. Norden marked by Simmons. Norden putting it deep. Outside in, flying deep. And it looks like it's going to be in as Carleton gets the first break of the game. 2-1 cut. It looked like that shot was to Logan Weiss. A beautiful throw. The break starting from a high release backhand from Simon Montague, which was able to lead Norden away from Simmons, getting the flick outside in hook chance. And a beautiful, beautiful throw leading Logan Weiss. He just had to run to it. No defender in sight. This is a 2-1 Carleton break as they take the lead early in this game. One of the players out for the Wisconsin side is cutter and big man Dave Wiseman. Wiseman out due to a pinched nerve, his sciatic nerve. I spoke to him earlier. It looks like he's making some recoveries, and hopefully we will see him at Stanford Invite. Also, Pat Donovan not playing. He's in his recovery stages, and hopefully we're hoping for his recovery, and hopefully we'll see him later in the season as well. It looks like Wisconsin's offensive line, Ben Raymond, Bryan Hart, Matt Becker, Colin Camp, Alex Simmons, Tanner Marshall, and one player that does not have his name on the back of his jersey. We'll get back to you on that for sure. As Will Harold gets set to pull. Actually, that was Simon Montague with the pull. This pull going to the left sideline as Raymond goes to field it. Disc stays in. Centers to Simmons. Simmons about to be marked by Sam Keller. Simmons looking upfield. Finding Bryan Hart. Bryan Hart looking to strike to Camp. Finds Camp underneath. Camp marked by fellow next-gen teammate Simon Montague. Camp trying to move it. High stall count coming. Camp sending it deep. Shot going deep to Bryan Hart. Running it down. And Hart's able to make the grab as Wisconsin ties it at 2. This game, as they are looking to spread the ball deep early. We have not seen the consistent dump swing offense of Carleton, but frankly, they haven't really had to, as both of their deep shots playing early dividends. I am joined, of course, by my partner in crime, Bryan Jones.
Great to be here.
So we've seen an early break from Carleton as they take a 2-1 lead. Carleton coming out strong, shooting the ball deep, as I was saying before. Wisconsin able to answer quickly stop the bleeding, get it back on 2-2, as they get their defensive line back on the field, trying to get this break back early.
That's crucial to get your defense rolling, get those converted breaks early on, to go out into the game and have confidence that your defense can get the job done when need be.
And here we go with Carleton's offensive line. We see Julian Childs-Walker, Sam Keller, Nick Stewart, Justin Norden, and Simon Montague. We also see the young Mike Clark and David Long. Sam Keller fielding the pull, pushing upfield to Justin Norden, coming out in a horizontal stack. Norden throwing it upfield to Montague. Montague pushing it deep right away. Stewart breaking out. Stewart milking it, and that is a quick 3-2 strike. And that is another deep shot by Carleton. Carleton is now 3 for 3 on the deep shots.
That's pretty uncut-like, but it looks like a pull play right off of there. Montague comes off of the stack, gets the cut, puts it deep to Nick Stewart. Nick Stewart has been a monster this tournament so far. The athleticism is unparalleled at this tournament for a cutter, perhaps. And Stewart is just making a name for himself right now.
Absolutely, and coming off that vertical stack, we usually see Carleton working in their horizontal stack. As you said, clearly a pull play as Norden pushes it to the left side of the field for Simon Montague, who's able to threaten with that high release backhand break that he always loves. Fakes that, throws the outside in flick bomb to the other side of the field. Stewart is wide open and is able to just casually milk it for the goal. Coming out, here's Wisconsin's offense again. And you cannot undersell the strength of a guy like Colin Kemp. But we've also seen the poise of Alex Simmons in the center handler position.
It's interesting, you have Simmons here coming out in offense. He's been a D-line player for most of the day, watching Wisconsin. Also, Bryan not in the line. He's been an offensive mainstay in the games that we've watched earlier today.
Absolutely. I was talking to Dave Wiseman, and he said that Hector Valdivia is calling the lines, and he can't really see how many points people have played. But he said that a lot of players are getting a lot of play time, and which is really good for a young Hodag squad.
At this point earlier in the season, that's crucial.
Dan Park fielding the pull. Simmons going deep right away. Dan Park looking it off, looking to move it around to Tanner Marshall. Finds Matt Becker underneath. Becker close to the flick sideline. Breaks to Alex Simmons. Simmons looking deep. Finding Jordan O'Neill underneath.
Travel call there. Maybe we're seeing a little bit now of the defined Wisconsin offense that Valdivia has in mind. Simmons there stretching the field deep immediately off of the pull.
Tapping the disc in. The disc goes to O'Neill. Up to Colin Kemp, close to the right-hand sideline. Logan Weiss on, Julian Childs-Walker on D. Childs breaking around to Simmons. Simmons looking to stretch it around, and there is a call on the play. I believe it's a travel call. Logan Weiss calling it as he thinks Alex Simmons rounds out his cut. Simmons taps it in, looks to break right away. Simmons pushing upfield. Big bid by the cut defender. Jordan O'Neill breaking. And Simon Montague with the huge layout D, getting the disc to Carleton. And here we are with their second chance to break. Simon moving upfield. We're going to see Logan Weiss picking up this disc.
And that's why Simon Montague is so valuable. This team got injured late last night. Cut looks like a different team today with him on the field.
Logan Weiss airing it out right away. Simon Montague going deep. Dan Park. And Simon unable to get it as Wisconsin makes the D. Jordan O'Neill makes the catch to make sure. O'Neill setting his pivot foot. He's within his own end zone. And Wisconsin trying to get open for him. Tanner Marshall's cut, ineffective. Breaking around to Dan Park. Park sending it deep the other way. Colin Kemp in chase. He is all alone if he's able to get to it. Laying out. Makes the grab. Colin Kemp just outside of his end zone. Breaking. And that is a goal for Wisconsin as they're able to get the hold after Carleton looks like they were going to be able to score.
Yeah, again, the deep shots here from both teams are pretty surprising, especially from the Carleton side. Immediately you're seeing a huck go up after a turnover to Montague, then immediately coming back a huck to Colin Kemp. Earlier on the point, it looked like Wisconsin was going to try to run their normal offense and work it up the field. But right now they're being able to convert on those deep shots.
I definitely understand why Carleton would want to take that deep shot on a defensive point. I'm just surprised how often they're doing on offensively. 2 offensive points, and they've come out and thrown long balls right away. Here we are. It has to do with, I think, the fact that Jonah Hursky isn't here. While their dump swing offense is certainly clicking like it normally does, I think they've had more success against good teams with the long shot because everyone's expecting Carleton to play that conservative, mechanical style of play.
Cut also is really suited well for the deep shot with Julian Childs-Walker, Simon Montague, and Nick Stewart, 3 speed guys that are very tough to cover for any defender on the field.
Simon Montague, not only is he fast, but his frame he's so lanky. He just surprises you with how high he can get and his reach. We get to see the Carleton O-line for the 3rd time. David Long, Simon Montague, Justin Norton, Mike Clark, Sam Keller, Nick Stewart, and Julian Childs-Walker. Childs-Walker sporting the half fro as he shaved half of his head. It seemed like David Long is the only one who mimicked him. Sam Keller getting set to field the pole. Looks like it's going to land in. Keller moving it upfield, centering it to Norton. Norton getting bumped early in the mark. Here's Nick Stewart with the break. Breaking to Mike Clark. Oh, Mike Clark drops it. And here we go, Wisconsin with the short field.
That's just a lack of concentration. Speed of the game, Mike Clark there looking away as he tries to make the catch. Turnover, Wisconsin disc.
Norton set to mark Dayu Liu, who centers it to Kelson Alexander right away. Alexander center handling, breaking to Dayu Liu. Liu back to Kelson Alexander. Alexander looking, gets it upfield to Smart, Jake Smart. Breaking to Liu, looking break side. Liu puts it to space, and Wisconsin able to get one of that break back. Wisconsin scoring right away with some very consistent offense. It seems like Wisconsin was playing more like Cut there.
Yeah, able to work it down the field just like Cut would, slicing and dicing through that defense. And Dayu Liu, what vision there. 2 men poaching off. Liu has a window of maybe 2 to 3 feet to fit that disc through. He does to open space for the goal.
Absolutely. The game is now back on serve as Wisconsin is up 4-3. They received first. Carleton was able to break, and now we have the game back with no breaks. Nick Zeman with the reception, a goal from Dayu Liu, and it looks like Valdivia is keeping fresh legs as he's modifying this defensive line, throwing new guys back on the field, and Mike Clark, yes, making a little bit of a mental error. This is the kind of game he's going to learn a lot from. He's been learning a lot this whole weekend, being a mainstay on this offensive line. I think he's going to be solid for the rest of the game. I don't think the turn's going to affect him. Here we go, Wisconsin getting ready to pull. The tall Zack Alter getting ready to send it. We don't see a modified cut line sticking to their guns. Zack Alter's pull. He's got some good speed, good distance. Simon Montague catching it. Upfield to Norton. Norton hitting Mike Clark right away. This time he catches it. Clark looking upfield. Looking to move it. Childs-Walker making the grab past the Wisconsin bitted defender. Upfield to Norton. Norton looking to finish this point off. Getting separation. Looking for the around. Norton's hammer goes up. Childs-Walker fields it. Around to Simon Montague. Montague looking for his breaks. Instead finds Norton in the backfield in the center of the field. Break goes up to Clark, who reels it in for the score.
Great redemption there by Mike Clark. Coming back after a drop, not losing concentration, not losing composure, getting the goal. Also, one thing to note is the speed of the game has increased dramatically when these two teams come together. That last play off of the isolation when Mike Clark passed up to Julian Childs-Walker, it looked like the defender was clear in space to have it, and that's the speed that Childs-Walker has to trust on an in-cut. Clark can just put it and know that Childs-Walker's going to beat his man, even if the defender is tight right there. And that's pretty incredible. This is the type of game we want to watch. The speed has increased. These teams are going to get physical. The Ds are going to be athletic. This game is going to be fun to watch down the stretch.
And I can't help, as Wisconsin huddles up on their line, I can't help but notice similarities between Childs-Walker and former Cut player Grant Lindsley.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Childs-Walker is taking Grant's role as a primary cutter. Grant Lindsley, though, was pretty much an unstoppable force on the field. It didn't matter what way you were going to guard him. He was going to find a way to go where he wanted to go. And he had very good deep throws to boot afterwards. Childs-Walker is a little bit more simplified version. Still has great speed, just not as dominant as Lindsley, but still a great replacement. And you're also seeing Cut with a ton of guys at the handler position this year that are going to have the big play throws, the breaks necessary to spread the field. And so, yes, you lose Lindsley, but with the experience of Simon Montague, Justin Norton gaining, and then Herskew coming back from varsity basketball will be huge for Cut later in the season.
Just want to point out that we have Hai Ngo on the field. He is currently on the left side, and he was unable to play yesterday due to food poisoning he received from eating fast food, and and it's good to see him out. He came out to play in this tournament, and it's good to see him on the field. Harold's pull up towards the center, trailing to the left sideline. Wisconsin fielding it upfield to Simmons in the center of the field. Camp in isolation, gets the under. Here is Simmons again. Simmons spreading the disc to Dan Park on the left-hand sideline. Rightmost sideline, excuse me. Simmons scanning. Here's Matt Becker cutting underneath. He finds Becker. Becker looking upfield, looking to swing it around to Simmons. Simmons trips, but he's able to get to it. Around to Park. Looks off O'Neal under. Upfield to Tanner Marshall. Marshall around to Simmons. Some consistent offense here from Wisco. Simmons looking for an undercut. Pushes it around to Marshall. Marshall upfield. And a big layout D by Logan Weiss while he was guarding Dan Park on the up line.
That's the problem for Wisconsin trying to dump swing. These defenders get cut are pretty good at the dump, on the dumps.
Nord picking up the disc and sending it deep right away to Logan Weiss. The disc flying outside in is incomplete as Logan Weiss is not able to read the disc going right over his head.
Again, there it looked like on the initial possession for Wisconsin, they were running a split stack, trying to keep the middle of the field clear for an isolation cutter, and it wasn't working too well. They had to dump swing a lot to get any movement.
Park tapping in, moving it right upfield. Disc gets sent all the way to the left side to Simmons. Simmons airing it out to space. Jordan O'Neal and chase. He's going to be able to run to it, and that's a goal for Wisconsin. Jordan O'Neal from Alex Simmons.
That's the type of opportunity Wisconsin's offense is looking for. Cut defense already got a turn at that point, just couldn't convert, so they were doing a great job. Wisconsin is going to need to take the deep shot against these defenders because if they keep dump swinging it, like I said earlier, you have great dump defenders for the cut. They're going to be able to get the D eventually on so many dump swings. Wisconsin's got to find their best chance to take it deep and send it early on in a point.
Absolutely. Wisconsin holding yet again. After turning it over early and getting broken, their D-line able to break back. This game is on serve. 5-4, Wisconsin leads.
It's going to come down to making those big plays for the rest of this game, even though it's early on in this first half. Whoever is going to convert on those hucks, those big plays, those Ds off of those break chances is the team that's going to win this game. Carleton there was just missed on a deep shot for a break opportunity. Had they been a little bit more patient, found a better opportunity to hit the deep shot, they could have converted on that break. And they're going to try to be a little bit more patient, but still find that deep connection that they know is available.
Simmons staying on the field for this defensive point after playing on offense last point. It's clear to the level of conditioning for Simmons, who, from what I've seen, while he has been playing a lot of defensive points, it seems like he's been playing all the points. Like he's taking very little rest. The conditioning level for a guy like Simmons is really high.
That's North Central conditioning. Those guys have a long winter. Gotta get in the gym and hit the weights.
Simmons' pull is high and far as Sam Keller goes back to field it. Upfield to Norden. Norden marked by Dayu Liu. Ooh, I thought he was going to throw up that deep shot. Instead, here's Nick Stewart underneath. Nick Stewart throws it. He slips, and it blades. The throw to Julian Childs-Walker incomplete. Nick Zeman on the mark.
Stewart there liking to take the chance. Looks like he just fell down on the throw. Caused it to come a little bit short. Childs-Walker, though, you got to like that matchup more often than not.
Yep, and here comes Simmons providing some consistent handling to this defensive line, allowing Dayu Liu to take more of a hucking role. Disc thrown around to Liu. Liu swinging all the way to the other side to Alexander. Alexander looking upfield. Hits Liu in the center. Norden on the mark.
Cut not giving up anything in the middle of the field.
Liu all the way around to Simmons. Simmons looking to strike deep. Zack Alter in chase. Zack Alter looks like he's got the read. He goes up, makes the grab just outside the end zone on the doorstep. Alter looking to push it. Finds Simmons. Simmons looking for the continuation and finds it. Wisconsin breaks 6-4.
Right now it's Wisconsin converting on those deep shots. Going down the field, Mike Clark looked like he had pretty good position. But that huck was laid out just high enough to use the ability of Alter's height to get up and grab it with his right hand. It was great positioning going down the field. It was a good huck to space, even though it was a little bit high. It allowed Alter to use his height instead of his speed to go up and get that one.
Absolutely, you have Mike Clark on defense. Very good player, very good defender. But you got to like the height matchup that Zack Alter brings to the field. Great shot to Alter. Great catch and great poise. I was expecting him to call a timeout there, but great poise since he did it, great poise to find his dump. And Alex Simmons able to get the easy upfield goal.
It's the story of the game right now with both teams playing very good defense, physical, not allowing too many underneath cuts. Carleton and Wisconsin are taking shots deep. Recently, in the last few points, who's come up with them? Wisconsin's been able to convert, whereas Cut's 0 for 2. Now, Nick Stewart, yes, fell down that one, and normally with Childs Walker going deep, you're going to want Nick Stewart to take that shot. Carleton still, though, has to execute and has to get better here on out.
Yeah, we've only seen Carleton come out in their consistent-looking horizontal stack for one of their offensive points. We might see something a little different now. Same offensive line. I predict we're going to see some consistent dump swing offense. I think Cut's going to roll this point. Here we are, handling core, Montague, Keller, and Norden. Montague typically going upfield at points to help stretch with his lanky frame, with his big size. But he also, behind the disc, he provides a certain quality that is unseen anywhere else on the college scene. Pull goes up, short. Keller able to field, pushing it upfield to Norden. Norden at the break mark. In the center of the field, upfield to Stewart. Stewart cut in their horizontal stack offense, and Mike Clark with another drop. Wisconsin moving it quick all the way. Here's Kyle Geppert. Geppert looking to move it. High stall count situation, breaks, and gets Smart. That's Jake Smart on the right side of the field. Breaking with the around. Wisconsin still all the way on the break side. Smart again with the disc. This time at the brick mark, inside break, and that's too far behind his defender.
Just poorly executed throw there. Early on too, that was Nick Stewart twice in a row now making a mistake, throwing that flick low in the initial possession.
Norden picking up the disc. Looks off David Long. High break to Nick Stewart. Running off the throw. Here's Norden again. Center of the field, around half field point. Looking for the around two. JCW. Finds David Long. Here's Norden again on the left side. Looking for the around. Keller up line. Back to Norden. Norden taking full control of this offensive point. All the way on the left sideline. Looking to swing it. Keller earning the up line again. Looking to dish. Instead throws the around to Montague. Montague with his nice high break. Wisconsin with a nice bid. JCW able to field it. And here's Norden. And that's going to come back most likely to Childs Walker, as I think there's an injury call on the Wisconsin down player.
Simon Montague not hesitating at all, knowing he's got Childs Walker coming across the field. Montague gets it, steps out, steps back to the inside, throws a high inside release, backhand to space. Childs Walker makes a great play to preserve possession in that. Also, you're seeing Justin Norden take control of play at a time when there's been a couple of turnovers. It's great when you got a veteran handler that can take over the offense for a point or two right when the defense isn't expecting it.
And the Wisconsin player taking an injury sub, a fantastic bid on his part. Here comes Bryan Hart, ready to mark Childs Walker. Right side of the field, around 5 yards out, as Cut is on the doorstep of a desperate hold that they need. Childs Walker to space, finds Norden. Norden spiking it, trying to fire up his team, and that is a goal.
Carleton really relying on their star players right now. When you look across the board, you think these rosters are pretty even in athleticism and talent, but Carleton has some skill located in a few key positions. Norden, Montague, Childs Walker, Nick Stewart with these athleticism. They're going to make the big difference when you get down and you need a guy to make a play.
And in these situations, you have guys like Clark with a couple of drops. It's a good learning experience for him. One of the things that Cut does really well is spread out their play time and get their youngsters with some solid experience early in tournaments. You know that Wisconsin and Carleton are going to be in the show. It doesn't really matter at this point in this game.
Yeah, absolutely right. When it comes down to nationals, these teams are probably going to look completely different. Same thing last year. Wisconsin came out, didn't have the greatest warm-up affair that we could have hoped for. They came out to nationals, peaked at regionals by beating Carleton, and nationals made a run that many people were not expecting, and looked like a completely different team, a team that played safe, played possession-style offense. And right now, they're kind of letting it hang. They're seeing what they've got. They're still evaluating that roster, letting those guys get play time. Against Cut, guarantee you we're going to see some lines, though, and some plans that we can identify for later in the season.
Here's Alex Simmons yet again on this point. I would say he's one of the top players on this team, as he is constantly playing. Captain Alex Simmons, that is. We still see Jordan O'Neal, who's had an effect, Dan Park, Bryan Hart, Colin Camp, Ben Raymond. Will Harold pull goes up. Raymond looks to field it, but it's going to fly more towards Park as he sets to field it. Centering to Simmons. Montague on the mark. Simmons with the break to Remen. Finding Simmons again, getting separation, moving it upfield. Here's Colin Camp, next-gen player. Mr. Akel himself getting the around to Simmons. Simmons looking for the inside break. Pointing deep. Here is O'Neal. O'Neal looking for the around. Finding Bryan Hart. Hart on the right-hand sideline. Getting the around off to Simmons. Simmons to Ben Raymond. And there is a pick call. There's a stoppage because it is a pick, but it's not going to stop the disc is going to stay where it is. Raymond types it in. Throwing it upfield to Camp. Camp looking for the around tuck. Looks it off. Here we go. O'Neal putting it out to space. Simon Montague with a huge layout catch grab. And here's Cut's defensive offense trying to make that break back.
That's just an explosive play right there.
We have a stoppage and not only making the play, making the grab.
Montague there with the catch deep, pretty much from a standstill too. That's the type of play that you know that guy's an athlete because that's an explosive play. That's not he was running towards it and getting in position. He made that from a standstill and exploded into his layout.
Unfortunate mistake for the young Jordan O'Neal. Disc is tapped in. Mike Clark on the right-hand sideline, throwing the around to Montague. Montague pushing it to the side for Will Harold. Will Harold finding John Hahn. Shrinking across field, here's Clark. And a pick is called. Clark coming across the field.
Just to reiterate too, Wisconsin coming out, really dumb swinging it, not taking the shot early, which the shot has been working for them. So the underneath should open up. But Cut playing good defense and forcing them into a bad decision where one of their playmakers can get the D.
This goes back to John Hahn, Bryan Hart at the mark. Montague his dump. Pushing it upfield to Clark again. Clark making the grab. Looking upfield. Eventually looking around. Here is Clay Dewey Valentine. Valentine looking to push it. I saw inside break. Clark gets it and pick called.
Wide open receiver would have been converted most likely for a hammer from Mike Clark. Pick call changes that one.
Big heads up play by Clark to field that inside out. Clark getting the dish off to Logan Weiss. Logan Weiss to Montague. Back to Weiss as Montague cuts up line. Finding, this goes up to Will Harold. Makes the grab on Dan Park. A little bit of physical play. Harold able to make the grab. Weiss trying to fight for the up line. Foul is called.
That's just a great play there by Montague. Despite not getting the disc, on a dump swing offense when the defense is forcing middle, Montague swings the disc, gets it himself, swings it immediately back, doesn't look upfield, then can go to the other sideline. Essentially, it doesn't matter at the force middle at that point. The up line cut will be available due to the switching in the mark.
Montague having to give the disc back to Harold on the right sideline as the foul was called before the throw. Dan Park getting set to tap the disc in. Disc is in. Harold looking to get it off the line. Finding Montague. Montague all the way around to John Hahn. Montague up line. Getting the disc. Hammer, high hammer. Valentine going up. Oh, and Will Harold trails it. Makes a diving catch and cut with the break.
Interesting thing about that play there is that was a great catch by Will Harold. Intense concentration to see the tip. And Simon Montague got it immediately. Wasn't even looking up line. His first look was hammer. He didn't hesitate at all with that. And I'd venture to say that that's not a great decision by Montague. It's one that worked out. Who is a very high arcing hammer that Cut was lucky to come down with. But that's the type of shots they need to convert on. Absolutely,
but check out the athleticism of Clay Dewey Valentine getting up big to try to make that grab. And while he didn't get it, that looked really good. Here we go, 6-6 tie game. And here is the defensive line. Julian Childs Walker set to pull. Big inside out pull going towards the right sideline. Simmons getting the center. Sam Keller on the mark. Moving it to Dan Park. Dan Park known for his flick bombs. Centers it back to Simmons. Simmons looking to Hart on the deep shot. Oh, and one of the Cut players able to make a play and stop the shot to Hart.
Cut defender Weiss. Coming in, Logan Weiss. Puck was just short enough. If that was a little bit more loopy, Wisconsin player would have been able to make a play on it. It was good because it was a back shoulder throw that was going to the break side. Defender would have been out of position had it been a little bit higher.
Right side stack. Norden picking up the disc. Stewart isolated in the center, trying to get some space. Inside break to Stewart. Looking deep. Shooting it deep. Childs, Walker, and Chase, but that's going to be too far.
Stewart there trying to be ultra aggressive. Looked like these shots are a little bit mistimed. That's pretty normal early on the season. You're not going to be able to huck it as well as you'd like to.
Here we are, Wisconsin, set to pick up the disc again. Here's Simmons. Simmons pushing it to the far sideline. Here's Tanner Marshall. Marshall breaking around to Simmons. Again, the score is 6-6. Simmons taps the disc in. Sam Keller on the mark. Upfield to Colin Camp. Colin Camp being guarded by Julian Childs-Walker. Cell count getting kind of high. Throws the around. Big around to Dan Park, and there is a call downfield.
Smart defense by Carleton. Wisconsin showing a new look in the L stack. Carleton forcing into the L stack, preventing flow from Wisconsin.
Simmons clearing deep, trying to create something for Park. Here's Tanner Marshall on the left-hand sideline. Up to Jordan O'Neal. O'Neal with Clay Dewey Valentine on the mark. Breaking to Dan Park in the center of the field. Looking off Tanner Marshall. Here goes Colin Camp deep. Looked off for the inside blade. Here's Bryan Hart. Bryan Hart dishy to Tanner Marshall. Upfield to Matt Becker. On the left-hand sideline, Becker puts it up. Bryan Hart and Chase. And it's in front of him, and he's able to make the easy catch. 7-6 goal for Wisconsin.
That's exactly what you want the Wisconsin offense to do. You don't want to keep continuing dump swinging and working off the field. You want to identify one of your athletic cutters going deep and get the opportunity that's going to be a high percentage chance on those hucks. That's what they did right there, and that's why Wisconsin right now has the 7-6 lead and not Carleton, and that's why Wisconsin is able to get back in this game early on, commit to those shots, take advantage of them early. Carleton hasn't been able to do that. Nick Stewart earlier on, this is Julian Childs-Walker down the field.
7-6, Carleton down by 1, with the chance to break and go up 7-6. This is a totally different game now as Wisconsin is pulling and possibly can go into half 8-6.
You're saying right now that it's a totally different game, and definitely whenever you get the chance to go and extend that lead, it's just with both these teams that adjustments we made in the second half, and that's really going to be key to both of these matchups. Who adjusts better in the second half and takes advantage, because there's going to be opportunities for both teams. This is college ultimate, and even at high level, there's going to be a lot of turnovers. There'll be a lot of chances for both defenses to pick it up. Whoever can convert more onto the breaks in the second half, it's probably going to be the team that comes away with it.
While this game does not have any major implications for the regular season yet, the winner of this game will most likely have a first-round bye tomorrow, something that these teams probably desperately need. The Zack pull is high, coming down, outside in. Montague upfield to Norden. Mike Clark isolated underneath. Looked off by Norden. Swinging to Montague, back to Norden, reset. Dave Long fighting for the underneath. Here's Mike Clark earning the under. Dave Long looking for the continuation, goes up and makes the grab. David Long on the left-hand sideline, forcing flick. They're able to make the grab for Norden around. Upfield to Montague. Montague around to Norden. Here's some of that consistent offense. Childs-Walker with the under, pass a bidding Wisconsin defender, Jake Smart.
Wisconsin here, forcing Cut to work it up the field, really containing Nick Stewart. His defender hanging back in the stack well after Nick Stewart was cleared out of his deep cut, waiting for him to come across the field.
Childs-Walker fighting for the around. Hits Montague. Montague around to Norden. Another cut bid. Norden, inside break, Childs-Walker. Too many cuts to one place. Childs-Walker over the snap throw. Nick Stewart slipping and would have been a sure goal. Wisconsin able to come up with a big D, and now here comes a chance to go up 8-6 into half.
Nick Stewart there slipping again, the second time he's lost his footing. It's just been a dismal first half for Nick Stewart on just executing on fundamentals. And that's disappointing, and his athleticism should carry him through the second half. We'll see what type of player he is.
Jerry McGinnis with the D. Here's Kyle Gephardt picking up the disc, finding McGinnis on the left side. Upfield to Alter. The big Zack Alter looking for Dayu Liu around. Alter putting it up to space. McGinnis and Chase. Clark on the D. And McGinnis able to make the grab. That is 8-6 Wisconsin, breaking for half.
That's a bailout puck right there. Zack Alter forced into the L stack on the sideline. Nothing available. Cut shutting down those dumps. And that's what I said earlier. Wisconsin is converting on those hucks, those chances, shooting it deep, And Cut's just got to find a way to defend that better. Maybe they let them dump swing it up the field and try to confuse them with some poachy looks. Maybe they help deep a little bit more. Right now, Wisconsin is doing a good job of sending one cutter deep with no defenders in the area to help, taking advantage of it.
And Cut at first going up early with the first break of the game. Wisconsin able to earn the break back and get another one in favor as they lead 8-6 at half in this 7 p.m. showcase game in Tampa, Florida.
Here we are, Bryan Jones and Zack Smith here in Tampa, Florida, to give you the second half coverage of Wisconsin versus Carleton. Wisconsin right now with an 8-6 lead. Exciting game with big play so far and breaks on both sides. Wisconsin went down 2-0 early, able to tie the game back up, and able to control the game to half, 8-6.
And the story, I think, of this game has been the efficiency and accuracy of the Wisconsin hucking lines versus the inaccuracy of the Carleton hucks. As Wisconsin's able to punch in 3 breaks versus the Carleton, actually 2 breaks versus the Carleton 1 break, giving them this 8-6 lead.
This coverage is, of course, part of the Sky College Tour 2012, presented by Spin Ultimate. We have Elliot Trotter here filming the game for us. These beautiful fields, beautiful day. Wind has died down tonight. Stayed warm throughout the day. Teams have played a lot of games so far in this tournament. But right now, both teams are getting up for this fantastic rivalry.
If there's anything that any person who would want to see, any person that's a fan of this matchup would want to see, it is a game in no wind. Last season, both teams building up to this epic finals match at College Nationals, and Mother Nature just said no. Bringing in huge hurricane winds, putting on a final that was just not what people wanted to see. Here we are, early in the season, Wisconsin and Carleton battling for a first-round bye tomorrow, and this game has been exciting for sure, as Zack Alter gets set to pull for the Wisconsin defensive line. Also on defense, we see Nick Zeman, James Smart, Tayo Liu, Ben Raymond, and Jerry McGinnis as the Alter pull goes up, trailing towards the left sideline. Sam Keller fielding it, pushing it upfield to the center to Justin Norden. Norden looking to hit Stewart, or Clark hits Stewart. Stewart more closer to the brick mark now, pushing it upfield to Clark. With the disc now, marked by Zack Alter to Justin Norden, and there's a stoppage. Clark making the sliding grab to make sure that he stayed in. Norden about to tap in the disc, marked by Dayu Liu. Liu setting up a backhand force. Disc goes up to Stewart. Stewart bobbling this one. It's another turnover for Carleton's line. Stewart is not happy as he's bodying back and forth with Jerry McGinnis.
Another mistake there for Stewart. This has not been his game. Drops, slipping up on the throw, slipping up on the catch earlier, turfing a throw. That's the 4th turnover by Nick Stewart in this game by just, for whatever reason, just bad execution. On the other hand, watching Nick Stewart is a big-bodied, athletic guy that, it's hard to challenge those type of guys. They're big, so you go after them physically, they're going to win that battle. You lay off of them, they're fast, they're going to win that battle. What can you do? You got to fight through that as hard as you can if you're a defender for Wisconsin.
Here we go. Ben Raymond tapping in the disc. Simon Montague on the mark. Upfield to Zack Alter. Mike Clark on the mark. Alter upfield. Wisconsin on the left sideline. Childs Walker on the mark. Liu earning the upfield, putting it deep. Wisconsin chancing it down, and that's a 9-6 lead. A break to start this half.
Carleton right now, Nick Stewart's got to get his head on straight. It's unfortunate right now making those slew of mistakes. But if you're Carleton, you just got to get everything going right now, building some confidence early in the second half. And once Carleton makes that one play, they know they're going to be able to come back in this game and get the breaks necessary to come back and tie this game, make it a good one towards the end.
Taking some unnecessary shots, trying to end the point quickly instead of the typical Carleton grinding at the point, often at times looking like they're looking off wide open receivers, taking that shot over the stack, trying to lead Nick Stewart. Yes, Stewart should have been able to make the grab, but it's a chance that you don't typically see an offense like Carleton taking.
And I like the shot in general. I like the process. Nick Stewart was there, had to make a shoestring catch, which was fine. He just has to make that catch. And Carleton here has those shots. It's early on in the season. Your timing is going to be a little bit off, and that's why you're seeing Wisconsin right now take the lead in this game. I really think once Cut gets their full roster back, you have basically Hershkew come back from varsity basketball. You're going to see a Carleton offense that has so many studs that they're going to be very hard to contain and probably go back to their machine-like quality of being able to convert. Looks like that you're going to, with the departure of Grant Lindsley, the underneaths aren't going to be always there, so you're going to have to take the deep shot. Carleton is going to transform themselves into that team that knows when to take the high percentage shot, and they're going to get better at it toward the end of the year.
Yeah, we also lose Patrick Roberts and some other cutters from that Carleton offensive line. So they're totally just in a redefining phase right now, and a lot of these young players are playing very important points. The Hodag pull is low and short. Keller upfield to Norden at about his brick mark. Norden around to Clark. Clark looking to break, instead chooses the swing to Norden. Norden in the center of the field, looking off the dish. And there's a call up field, stoppage of play.
Carleton here. Looks like majority of their guys on the right side of the field coming out in an L stack, trying to isolate cutters underneath.
Hitting Stewart underneath. Stewart at the Wisconsin brick mark, sending it deep again. And this one just out of bounds. The Carleton player might have been able to grab it, but no reason to go for it if it's going to be that far out of bounds.
Nick Stewart right now is trying too hard to make plays to be the focal point of the offense. That's his 5th turnover this game. Right now, he just needs to get his head on straight and let somebody else take charge of this offense. Carleton is throwing the game away right now. At this point, it's not too late to come back, but the mistakes they're making are because of bad decisions. Wisconsin's not forcing this.
Absolutely, and Wisconsin, on par with their efficiency, making a lot of their hucks on, spot on, getting them execution a lot of these breaks. Swing around. Here's Simmons in the center of the field. James Smart. Deep shot goes up. Zack Alter making the grab. Wisconsin trying to set up their offense. A round throw from Alter to space. Wisconsin, 10-6 break. And Zack Alter just making it look easy.
Zack Alter there, great cut to space. More importantly, I'm surprised Carleton's not taking a timeout right now. They better. Right now they're flat-footed. Everybody on the defense and offensive line is just playing a little bit tentative. They need to get back to that Carleton-style offense that just moves like clockwork, well-timed down the field. Take a timeout, get a breather, get back in this game, refocus. Keep going like this, you're going to try too hard, and you're just going to run yourself into the ground. Over on the other field also, UCF has taken the cake over Georgia Tech. Right now, looking like UCF is going to come out of this pool play, looking like the top team in the Southeast region. Win over Cut today, win over Georgia Tech. And they're probably going to advance on to the bracket, and we'll see where they end up.
And you're absolutely right in both points. Carleton, first of all, taking the timeout, just as you would typically do if you were their coach. Trying to reassess, trying to reevaluate, get themselves back in the game, get some positive things going for this next offensive point. Zack Alter throwing that to space, and a beautiful throw. He could have put it just a little out to space and his receiver would have been able to get it, but he puts it pretty far out to space, throwing it, trusting that his guy has the jets to get to it, and he was wide open. As long as he didn't drop it, that was a sure goal, and that was in the chest, at the numbers. Nice break, nice goal.
Both teams now breaking the huddle.
Nice. Yeah.
Wisconsin's defensive offense looking much younger on this point. You're not seeing a lot of the hucking talent that we've seen in the last few points, but as Wiseman told me, Valdivia really spreading out the play time, getting these guys a lot of experience. It is currently 10-6 Wisconsin for the 7 p.m. showcase game versus Carleton Cut in beautiful Tampa, Florida at Florida warm-up of Florida Affair. I'm Zach Smith with Bryan Jones. We are Sky Magazine's Noah Scuber, providing you coverage of the Sky 2012 College Tour presented by Spin Ultimate. James Smart set the pole. Rising pole going towards the left sideline. Montague fielding it. He's got Norden, centers it. Norden with his own end zone. Looking off Clark, throwing it back to Montague. Montague out to Childs Walker. Big Wisconsin bid as Childs Walker able to field it. Young, energetic Wisconsin line as there is a stoppage.
Looks like we're seeing the defense here still come out physical for Wisconsin. Feeling pumped up now, and as you said, with even playing time, there's guys out there trying to prove themselves that they belong on this roster starting.
Nick Zeman on the mark, gets broken on the swing to Simon Montague. Montague with a big inside break to Stewart. He's got Clark underneath, chooses the up line to Norden. Norden ping-ponging it to Stewart. Stewart inside to Childs Walker. Now Norden up to Childs Walker. Small ball offense from Carleton. Here's Montague cutting back for the reset. Montague swinging around to Norden. Norden looking for the inside. Goes around to Childs Walker. Childs Walker on the doorstep. Back to Norden. Stewart wide open in the end zone. Carleton grinds 10-7.
Looks like James Smart there, the defender for Wisconsin, just didn't see Nick Stewart move. Nick Stewart went right to the right side. Smart didn't even follow. Wide open for the score. Also to see there, initially right when the disc was on the goal line, Wisconsin marker guessed and tried to jump over to guard the backhand side, leaving the flick side open for the break for Carleton. Earlier in the point, we also saw Simon Montague with a big inside-out break. Reminiscent, not so quite, but close, to Mac Taylor's inside break in the 09 final against Carleton, one of the best throws I've ever seen. Montague has that throwing ability to go out there and basically have the vision to spot anyone on the field who's open and throws to get it to him.
You got to take away a lot of positive things for that point for Carleton. A lot of those throws were sure catches. They led his receivers to open space.
That's getting back to cut disc. You're going out there as the offense. You're doing the dump swing. You're looking for the breaks. You're looking for the opportunities. You know, it's great to see Nick Stewart still playing through that. They took the timeout. It looked like he was refocused. He got his chance. He got his one. Now Nick Stewart can come out and dominate the rest of this game, get his composure back, head on straight. Now we're seeing the defensive line also come out. And so you kind of get back into your normalcy. Had a few breaks. Had things not go your way. Now the defensive line can get out there, do work, put the pressure on Wisconsin.
And we get to see Carleton's defensive line, just as you said, for the first time in a while. John Hahn, Logan Weiss, Simon Montague, Clay Dewey Valentine, Will Herald, James Adams, and Tyler Mahoney. Here goes Herald with another big pull. Great floating, hang time, goes kind of short. Wisconsin moving it up. Bryan Hart with the disc. Wisconsin player tripping. Hart guessing wrong, throwing the turn. Montague with the disc now in the center of the field. Carleton with a short field to work with. Montague putting up the backhand to space. Adams in chase. Marked by Simmons. A jump ball. Adams making the catch. 10-8 Carleton breaks.
Adams showing his defender of the disc there, getting his team pumped up. Immediately after the turn, Montague throwing it deep off of the fast break, not wasting any time. That's a good chance for cut. That cut was wide open, going deep. Player was able to get up. Adams was able to box out his man on the floaty backhand, come down with it. Earlier in the point, there was an interesting turnover there where it looked like the receiver had fallen down way before the throw should have been made. And the throw still went up despite the receiver being on the ground. Not quite sure what happened there, but definitely a miscommunication by both the receiver and the handler.
It looked like Hart noticed that the receiver was on the ground, decided to put it up anyway, and then tried to kind of like bring it back as it kind of bladed. So he kind of knew he didn't want to throw that in the first place. Here comes Wisconsin's sideline explaining what a Hodag is. Head of an ox, feet of a bear, back of a dinosaur, tail of an alligator. An interesting demon for sure. Typically we hear the looming Hodags cheer coming, letting everyone know that
a northern Minnesota accent.
The northern Minnesota accent as the defense is looming. But this is Wisconsin's offensive line, Tanner Marshall, Alex Simmons, and Dan Park anchoring it as the handlers. Deep pull, Marshall looks like he's going to field it, and it looks like it's going to sail out of bounds. Simmons will bring it at the brick mark. We see Hart, O'Neill, and Becker as three of the veteran cutters for this Wisconsin offensive line. No Colin Camp at this point. Trying to make someone else work for it. Becker trying to get isolated. Throw goes to Dan Park on the left sideline. Here's Becker earning the under. Upfield to Simmons, and we have a miscommunication as Nago was able to knock it down and get Carleton back on offense. Miscommunication for Wisconsin. Norden.
Big miscue there. Carleton getting the disc back, continuing their momentum.
Here's Keller around to Norden on the right sideline. Keller inside to David Long. David Long, throw getting away from him, but Mike Clark's able to make the grab. Here is Carleton on the doorstep. Norden to Sam Keller. Back to Norden. Norden to Harold towards the center of the field. Harold, low break to Keller. Keller looking off Galen Ryan. Here's Norden again. Patient cut, vertical stack offense.
Wisconsin not really giving anything up right now.
Sam Keller earning the disc at the brick mark, still grinding, still working it. Here's Norden again. Inside break to Mike Clark. Fields it. Again on the doorstep, a couple yards out. Norden getting the dish. Galen Ryan looks open. Simmons accidentally knocking the disc out of Norden's hands.
How many times tonight have you said Mike Clark? He's been a beast all night in the offensive line, been around the disc, making plays. Young cutter, filling in for the losses that Cut experienced from last year.
Here's Norden. Lefty inside break to Sam Keller. Sam Keller is pissed off, one of the fiery defenders out here. And he is upset at Dan Park holding him up for throwing the short break goal. Park not buying into that game. This is coming in at 0. Keller looking off the inside. Keller getting it to Norden. Norden up to Long. Long looking for the inside. Throws it up to Norden. Oh, the disc is too high. Norden drops it. Here comes Simmons.
Would have been big to capitalize on that for Carleton to continue their momentum. Now Wisconsin getting it back, being able to settle down.
Upfield now, Dan Park with the disc. Park looking to strike. He has that big flick huck. Blade to Simmons. Simmons grabs it. Inside to Matt Becker. Here come the Hodags. Becker putting it out to space. Simmons in chase. Oh, and Wisconsin making the big grab. Dumping it back to Simmons. Dump swing, Wisconsin holds.
Right there, key to this play. Simmons makes the big catch down the field. That was a little bit behind him. He's able to get the snag. It was a little high too. Earlier in the point, right at the end line, Norden not able to come up with a pass right kind of behind him as well. Similar position. Norden doesn't come up with it. Wisconsin gets the disc back, able to march down the field. Becker makes a great catch.
Talking about that play, Wisconsin holds. Now it's 11-8 instead of a 10-9 Carleton break. Two very different scores.
Still time in this game going forward, but yes, Carleton had some momentum there. They got their score on offense. They got their offense back working. They got the break to make it 10-8. A break right there makes it 10-9. Wisconsin's going, uh-oh, we need to start changing things up a little bit. They're starting to think about what they're doing wrong. Carleton, though, offense was working before. Come back, work it down the field, get the score, hold, and then you can come out and break because they're getting good defensive pressure still.
I think Norden was looking for his, he realized he wasn't going to be in the end zone, looking for his next option, takes his eyes off the disc for just a moment, bobbles it. Wisconsin able to come up.
With a well-timed offense like Cut, yes, you're going to see Norden there make that catch and immediately look for the score because that's how they like to strike. They like to sit there and see those small openings, see the cutters well-timed off the stack, off the dumb swing, and find them immediately. Guilty a little bit. Most of the time if that throws a little bit more out in front, Norden makes it no problem. A little behind them, a little floaty, a little fluttery. That's what happens. It's just about execution so far in this game.
And here we go. Carleton coming out on offense. Norden, Clark, Stewart, Montague, Childs Walker, Keller, and Adams. It is 11-8 in Wisconsin. Pull goes up. Looks like it's going to go deep. Trail to the right sideline. And lands out of bounds. Good read by Sam Keller as Carleton will pick up the disc at the brick mark, 25 yards up.
Carleton coming out in an L stack. Isolate some of their cutters. It looks like Julian Childs Walker is going to be the isolation cut off of the start. Look for Carleton to take the shot if it's there, but most likely just to initiate the offense. If you had a little bit of trouble with flow, get one of your most experienced cutters out in space, let him do work.
Kyle Geppert on the mark. forcing him into the tail stack. Norden finds Childs Walker. Throwing it upfield to Mike Clark on the left sideline. Looks off the up line. High stall count situation. Throwing the high stall around. Montague and Chase getting up big. Keeping possession going. Montague now on the right sideline. Moving it upfield. Big break to James Adams. Adams up to Norden. Carleton at the opposing brick mark. Here's Montague. Montague lefty to Norden. Norden upfield to Adams. Making the grab. Here's Norden again. Throwing the around to space. And we're able to score. That's a Simon Montague goal. 11-9. Carleton runs straight on that.
I wish we could have replay right here. I would love to go back and show Julian Childs Walker. Initial cut, the way he created space there was amazing. Kyle Geppert, yes, forcing Carleton back into the L stack, usually not having that much room to throw the disc there. Julian Childs Walker takes the cut all the way to the break side, moving his defender, because the defender has to honor his speed to the break side, and Carleton has that. And able to come back, make a 5-yard in cut, able to create space immediately and start the offense.
And you're absolutely right. You definitely have to respect that Carleton first break throw opportunity. That was a great cut by Childs Walker.
That's a throw to space. Shoot that skills. Makes the grab. Long under to Nick Stewart. Sending it. Lofting pull. And Long making the grab. That was a lot. Norden dishing it to Montague. Low throw. Simmons looking to strike. Swinging to Park. Upfield to Simmons. Simmons at the break mark. Brick mark. Moving it upfield to Hart. There's a stop. Advantage point on the left. Looking for the around. Throwing it up line. Simmons and Chase.
You got it!
Wisconsin still able to make the grab. Wisconsin holds 13-10. To Norden, Kyle Geppert on the mark. Upfield to Clark. Montague, stops the field. Getting it around to Montague. Hammer attack for Montague for Childs Walker. Now just past half field. Here's Long, catches this time. Long hitting Keller. Keller throwing the around upfield to Clark. Moving it to Norden. On the doorstep, Norden flick. Childs Walker. Childs Walker on the line. Fish to Montague. Montague back to Norden. Break. Stewart. Stewart upfield. And that's to Norden. On the mark right away. Inside. Moving it up to Matt Becker. Finding Becker. Becker wide open past the defender. Again, finding Stewart around. towards the center of the field. No continuation. Simmons so good deep. Hart and chase. Montague able to make the play. Miscommunication is hard to stop.
Fourth soak to that one right to Montague. Montague catches the drive. Wisconsin Simmons show going back and forth with some players. That ended up trying to get
Tyler upfield to Stewart. Here goes Logan Weiss. Stewart lanes. Makes the catch there, Logan Weiss. Logan Weiss calling. Clearing out deep. Harold getting me around. Continuation to Harold. Harold long outfield to Stewart. Stewart to Tyler. Finds Montague. Montague throwing it to space. Adams in space. And that is a play. Simmons runs. Early stall count. Tanner Marshall, big, cut big.
Oh my
Another
God.
big dig. Zack also making a great grab against Nick Stewart. Also putting it to space. Simmons getting this from the center of the field. Swing throws. Hart coming to takes it off. Hart comes to Becker. Becker. This goes up for Simmons. Simmons looking for the around. Throwing it back to Hart. Oh, Simon almost getting there. Hart back to the sideline. Here is Tanner Marshall. Marshall still on the quick sideline. Marshall going in.
Oh, yeah.
Simmons making the great thing.
unfair is that he's right in his wife.
Simmons throwing to Hart. Right out big by Valentine. Back to Simmons. Outfield to Hart. Shooting for goal. Let's go. Grab. Short hammer, Charles Walker making the one-handed grab. Getting it to Gordon. Simmons with the big. That side, inside break. Let's see David Long. There's a stoppage.
It's a touch in. Throwing away though. Very hard.
There's Gordon again. For Logan Weiss finds him. Back to Gordon on the field. Throwing it up to Stewart. Stewart making the grab past the fitting Zack Alter. Upfield to Will Harold. Harold now on the sideline. Fishing upfield to Norton. Norton on the doorstep. Hammer attempt. To Stewart for straight with the grab. Marshall on the right hand sideline. Makes the pass. Pushing up to Simmons. Gets to Norton on the line. Hart going deep. Simmons with a big fake. Finding the inside. Colin Camp looking off that. Becker. Making for a dish. Finds Simmons in the backfield. Simmons again looking for a shot. Back to working around now. Dan Hart getting space. Simmons upfield. Another inside break. Bryan Hart making sure with the layout grab. Hart looking upfield. Trying to find the receiver. Lefty upfield. Simmons. Simmons now to Becker. Becker being marked by Charles Walker. Finding Hart upfield. Inside break. Upfield to Wisconsin on the doorstep. Trying to make it. Becker now with the disc. Looking up. Scanning. Charles stopping the play. Simmons cutting for him. Simmons is open. Marshall looking it off. Looking for the around. Simmons wide open in the end zone. Pushing that field to Justin Gordon. Marked by Alter. Hart throwing it up to Stewart. Stewart taking the shots to the situation. Steps out big for it. Miscommunication with Gordon. Back to Turner. Starting to get us cutting deep. And play some consistent offense here to get the break. Zack Alter now into this in the center of the field. Looking for cuts. Backfield option now. Steps around and throws it.
Too early.
There's Zack Alter. Steps around. Throws it around. Wisconsin now at second field. Offense. Oh, we have a stop there. That is a turnover. Gordon. Upfield to Stewart. Inside. Another shot.
I understand either way confidently, they know they can win this one. It's going to be disappointing if they can do a job like this for time if it's confident in the score here.
Oh my God. Gets to get it now on the right-hand sideline. Forehand forward to get the whole field to work with. Pivoting over. Child's walking on the line. Bryan. And then some final also. Still marked by Carleton. Also sends it. Nick Stewart is chasing. You gotta like that.
Help Carleton get up to high score.
Jordan on the field. Child's walker. Gordon upfield. Point. Logan Weiss from Chase. He's able to make the catch. Excuse me. Upfield. Logan Weiss from Shooting deep. Becker and Chase. Finds Becker on the doorstep. Looking to keep it going. Trying to finish it off. Becker finding his Wisconsin play. Around to Weiss. Weiss inside break. Dave Long. Fighting full up line. Finds Jordan. Jordan making the catch.
Incredible throw there. Break around, couldn't see much, putting it to space, getting it to Jordan.
Jordan fighting Keller. Going inside. Charles Walker calling that foul.